It's the Memphis Sports Network, WMC Memphis, WMFS HD2 Bartlett Memphis, WMFS FM and HD1 Bartlett, WMFS Memphis, ESPN 790 AM and 92.9 FM ESPN.
The views and opinions of the hosts or guests of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of the management or staff of Intercom Memphis.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me. Where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Make some time, take the family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 as we finally get into the fall, so to speak, on this third Saturday of the month, which means the man with a real radio voice is in with us this morning, Frank Barton. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning, everyone out there.
Yeah. He made it through all the qualifying to get into the seat with the radio voice. I mean, he's done it. And, of course, one of our show sponsors, we appreciate him. He just hopped right over here on Mountain Rye and go see the latest Indian motorcycles and a lot of the other toy things. But getting a warm-up, Frank, and I'm glad of that.
I just used to think I knew what thick ice was.
Well, and have you discovered now what thick ice? So how thick did let's just say Lansing Bottoms?
I know we had ice that was over 6 inches thick.
Over 6
inches thick in places.
So that half track, it couldn't get in there. Then I mean, that would be
no.
You couldn't use what we've used before.
No,
you know
I'm not saying it wouldn't go on top of it, but I'd be afraid about it falling through, and then you couldn't get it out. So
yeah, then you'd have
discretion. I'll tell you. Now, the truth be known that sometimes with age comes discretion and also experience.
Yes, and that's right. Yeah.
We were out in Lansing Bottoms last weekend. I think it was a Saturday. I can't remember now exactly. Anyway, we thought it was warm enough. We thought it was warm enough. We thought that everything would have thawed out. Our scouting indicated that it was going to probably have thawed. But it was completely fogged in. I mean, we couldn't see. We were using, honest to goodness, we had our phones out using a compass to navigate out there trying to, and then
you overshot it,
and then we ended up going to GPS and satellite views of our stuff, and we were able to figure out where we wanted to be, and we got to the spot that we wanted to be, and we looked at it and said it was still frozen way more than what we thought.
Yeah.
And it was still pretty deep, and I turned to Steve and Don. That would be Steve Lackey and Don Brawley, and I said, boys,
let's go home.
I think we need to get out of here while we know we can get out of here.
Yeah.
And they all agreed with me, and we left without even we never uncased our guns.
Have you ever done that before?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I had.
But not many times.
Not many times, and it was a good decision then. So the moral of what I'm trying to say to lots of folks out there that duck hunt is sometimes you just need to go home.
You just need to. And of course, home for you is not very far.
No, it's not
That's
far.
The thing
sometimes
about that.
sometimes you just need to get out of there. And it had all of the earmarks of having something that was going to be unpleasant. And we left. And the fact of the matter that we couldn't see 10
going
feet.
Back.
10
How about
feet
going
in front.
back? Could you navigate going back? You sat there until
I almost ran off in a ditch. In fact, as I put the front half of the Ranger down in the ditch, but I was able to get it out. It was not a very pleasant morning.
Well,
I was happy to be at work.
Another experience for the duck hunters. I know you duck hunters out there. If you're on your way to the blind this morning, at least we have much warmer temperatures. I've never been through it like that. About 5 days stuck with just about not going anywhere, but we're through with that, and supposedly, and the season's winding down. We're into the let's see, I guess today being the
about 10 days left.
10 days left. That's just hard to believe. I know that I'm heading up to Halls with my wife Monday and Tuesday to hunt with Jeff Martin and Dave Gabbert and some of them up there, and then hopefully me and Frank will be able to get together at the end of next week and at least have our last hunt together. But going to have a great show this morning. I've got a lot of guests. One of them we hope to get on right now, but we have not been able to hook up with Gary Lester, our good friend from Kentucky, who won last year's National Bird Dog Championship, and that gives him 3, if I'm not mistaken. And he's got 2 more entered in this year's competition, which is going to come up in just a couple of weeks. Not very long from now, and we'll have more about that on Open Mic Saturday, on that first Saturday in February, as we get ready for the National Bird Dog Championship at Ames Plantation. So maybe we'll hook up with Gary during this session, but me and Frank are holding down the fort. Man, we got Stacy Walker at Prime One Camo, and Frank knew it, and he's got on the jacket that I should have had on that you just said that's the warmest jacket, and I agree.
That's why I wait till Stacy gets on. I'll give her a plug when she gets on.
Give her a plug, and don't tell her I don't have mine on, because that's all I've been wearing and everything. And I'll probably be wearing that up at the duck blind at Halls, because I don't have to wear waders up there. But even though I love my Avery banded waders that I've got this year. Then we're going to talk to Mark Rose. He's down in Okeechobee. That's right. He's down in Florida. Our good friend Mark Rose from over at West Memphis is they're kicking off the FLW tournament series, and Mark is down there getting ready for it. I think it's the 25th through the 28th. But I know when I talked to him the other day, he was on his way down there to Okeechobee. So we'll talk to Mark, and then Mr. Outdoor Rider himself, John Phillips, who is probably the most prolific outdoor writer on this planet, out of Birmingham, has written 2 books. Very interesting books, and they're available on Kindle. So, I mean, you can get them by paperback, but you go to Amazon.com and you'll be able to get these 2 wonderful books that we're going to talk to John about. And then we're going ice fishing. Now, Frank, have you ever ice fished?
That's what I thought I've been doing.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I just thought it was appropriate that we talk to somebody that actually does it up in Wisconsin, and that's our good friends at Wolfpack Adventures. Captain Pat Calberton has got one of his top guides on with us this morning, Tyler Shazam, so it sounds like there. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to talk to Tyler about that, but I know he's going out this morning to ice fish. And you guys, just Google ice fish. They're crazy. You know, I mean, they drill that hole. The sonar is unbelievable. I mean, they can actually watch the fish come up there. And they love those 8-inch perch, they call them up there, you know. But these people don't just sit on a bucket out in the open like the old days. They actually have pretty amazing.
Huts.
They have huts.
Ice shacks.
That they drive them out there, Frank.
Ice shacks. They
pull them out there on the ice.
There with their UTVs.
Yeah, I'm talking about that. And then from there, look at that last one. This is the year of the bird. Do you know that? I'm really. That's what it is. This is the year of the bird, according to the Cornell Lab of what?
Ornithology.
Ornithology. I've got it now.
Didn't think I could get it.
I was early in the morning. I didn't know if you could come across with it or not. But we're going to have Mikoya, Mayoko Chu on with us this morning, and she's the Senior Director of Communications. at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. I did it. And she's going to close out the show. But the things going on right now, Frank, I know that I'm in deer depression. We had a terrible season. I don't care. I'm writing about that Sunday in the Commercial Appeal that we're about 50,000 deer short of what we were last year. A lot of opinions about that, and I will be having those in my story. A little over 140,000 when we usually shoot 160, 170. This is the worst in 10 years, in a decade. So for you deer hunters out there, I know they're still going on in Arkansas at archery, and I think Mississippi may be still going on right now. But we're talking waterfowl with Frank because this has been, optimistic. Now, we could go back and replay our show from way back when, back in November, and we talked about how we need water and we need cold weather. Hey, Frank, we got them.
Well, yeah, we did, but the combination of them was not good.
No, we didn't mention about combinations.
Yeah,
we just said we need water and we need cold weather.
We got it.
Do we have that, Mr. Greg Ratliff is our show producer, do we have cold weather?
A little bit.
We've had rain. No, we've had snow and ice. This makes you feel at home.
Oh, I love it. It's fantastic.
He's the only guy driving around in one of those little buggies, sliding around and everything like that. But
I've been in heaven for the last week. This is beautiful.
Has the kids been out?
Oh yeah, they love it.
They love it, don't they?
The dog loves it. The kids love it. It's been pretty great.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm ready for it to end. I'm ready for spring, and I'm ready for turkey hunting and.
But I will say that
last week
since we've had in the last 2 weeks, I have been getting lots of pictures and lots of reports from some very successful duck hunts going on around the area.
Oh,
Unfortunately, none of them have come from me.
Oh, that's what I was wondering. Yeah,
but
if you could get there,
but from the folks that have been the folks that have found open water, which would mean mainly of course, the Mississippi River.
Steve McAdams said Kentucky Lake has got some. They've got some open water.
River, Horseshoe Lake area, all those places that have, big water, open water, moving water, have had very, very good duck hunts. And
well, I've learned what ice eaters are.
Those, it's a device that was actually made to keep the boat. The boat ramps and the open up underneath out there in the lake, and we using them to open up duck holes, holes for duck hunting, and it works pretty good. I've also had some very poor results with them, so it doesn't. Nothing beats being where the ducks are.
Nothing beats it. That's
you can have a open hole and everything else frozen around you, but if the ducks aren't there, it's not going to do any good.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of companionship and things like that and memories.
Sure.
That's what I wrote about last Sunday in the paper with all these people talking about ice eaters. I think they ought to have ice heaters, and just melt the ice out there and instead of having to break them up.
I'm sure there have been some people that have tried to do that. I'm sure somewhere somebody has tried to
do an ice heater.
I've heard of people setting an old tire on fire. And trying to open. Oh yeah, I've heard all kinds of stuff.
Come on, an old tire on fire.
That's right.
The smoke will draw them.
That's just not cool. But anyway, I've heard people doing it. So not much time left in duck season. The folks that are still going out there in this cold weather, I think everybody's understood now that a lot of damage, a lot of things can go wrong when it gets this cold.
Can't they? Yeah.
We've been repairing lots of damaged units. That have been trying to bust ice, and they end up tearing things up with the machine. So there's a limit. There's a limit of what this equipment will do. You just need to understand it.
Well, Barton Power Sports in all of their locations, Wynn, Jonesboro, Forest City,
in Memphis.
He loves your business, but he's actually telling you don't come if take it easy. Be just like yourself. Your equipment takes a beating. And I know that with the equipment we have to wear to keep us warm, and we'll talk about that on the next segment because Frank's got on the right coat this morning. But anyway, this is Outdoors with Larry Ray. We're going to take a break, come right back, and switch gears a little bit, talking about the phenomenal growth of Prime One Camo, which is almost like an unofficial sponsor of Outdoors with Larry Ray. But with Stacy Walker, and we're going to have on with Stacy also Command Sergeant Major, retired William Billy Paul. He's a U.S. Army Ranger, a sniper out of Fort Benning, Georgia, on Outdoors with Larry Ray, ESPN 790.
You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry.